And when I got that quote, I thought that there was no way possible that I was going to be able to do this. I mean, my dreams were being being dashed. They were dashed right then. I just thought there was no way possible that we would be able to live this dream. What's going on, folks? Bienvenue. My name is Wade and this is Sabine River Valley. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I am going to talk to you about why I own a tractor, why I bought the tractor that I bought, and what my plans are with owning a tractor. So my family and I, we moved to East Texas a couple of years ago from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I had been there for about 15 years. So I went to school in Dallas and took a job there and began a career that kind of took off. I wasn't planning on any of that, but that's what happened. So met my wife there. We got married and we were kind of living our life there. We bought a house and had our first son, and we were just kind of living our life, and along came COVID. And so COVID happened, and I don't know how it was for you where you lived, but where I was, it kind of got ridiculous. And it wasn't so much the government in our area. They didn't really, they kind of stayed out of our way. It was the people. One day I had to go to the grocery store, right? We needed food. We needed some supplies, and I had been out of it for 2 weeks and was, kind of late in the game at stocking up, right? We were, even whenever you were hearing about it first, we were out of the state. We were in California. So I go out and make a run, like a supply run, right? And I end up at a Walmart. And the people there were just horrible to each other. Now, listen, you're in the middle of a pandemic and everybody is scrounging for what they can get, right? There's no bread, there's no toilet paper, everybody's used it all up. There's necessities that are super hard to find. I remember we had a bread maker, so we were going to just make our own bread, but you couldn't find flour because we weren't the first ones to think about that. So we were having trouble finding things like flour, and it was tough. So everybody's going through this. Everybody is experiencing this. Everybody needs supplies. But it was just the way that people responded to each other there that just, it was a little scary. It's like we've been watching all these end of the world TV shows and movies, and that was our experience with a pandemic. So we decided to act like what the movie told us to act like, or the TV show told us to act like. We were just vicious to each other. I decided that we couldn't do that anymore. I didn't know what was next, and I still don't know what's next. We're 4 years out of it, 5 years out of it. What I don't even remember now. So it's 2025 right now. So but we didn't know what was coming next. So we started looking for what could we do to get out of this mess. And we moved to East Texas. We were renting at the time and just kind of looking for something that we could make our own out there. I really wanted some property. I was really into sawmills at the time. I remember watching a YouTube channel called Fall Line Ridge, and it was a guy that would, he's got a kind of a tree farm out there, and he would, he'd go in and he'll clean it up. He'll just kind of take care of that area, and some of that includes taking some trees down. And he would take a tree down and he would grab it with his tractor and take it over to a sawmill. He's running a wood miser. He'd start cutting lumber out of it, and I just thought that was the greatest thing. And then, so I'm watching this channel, and he's using that tractor to move it around. Well, that video turned into other videos of people using tractors doing their work on their homestead. So we came out to East Texas. We got an Airbnb. We worked during the day at lunch. In the evenings, we'd go drive around and just look for somewhere to rent. And we found a house that would let us bring our dogs. And so we rented a house and we moved. We ended up in East Texas. So we're looking for property. We'd like a little bit of open area, but it's hard to find. Man, it was so hard to find. And we looked for quite a while, just drove around everywhere. We found a church that we absolutely fell in love with. And that kind of solidified the area that we were going to live in. So we started really digging in around that area, and we had seen a piece of property, and so we kind of went into the negotiation part of it, and we bought us our 20.5 acres. And so that's what we have. And when that happened, when we signed, I wouldn't let myself think about all the stuff that would happen if we did. I just didn't believe, I couldn't believe that this was going to happen. And so I waited, and I was like, I'm not gonna look into anything. I'm not gonna look into anything that it takes to take care of property like that until I know that it's ours. Then I'll start looking into this. Because if I start looking into it, I'm gonna start looking at things. I'm gonna get antsy. I'm gonna want it, and I'm gonna have a hard time not focusing on it. It's going to drive me nuts, and then it's not going to happen. Something's going to happen. It's going to fall through, and I'm going to be miserable. So I just would not let myself think about it. Well, the day we went in and signed the paperwork, all that went away, and I immediately just dove head in to what it would take to have a homestead, a real homestead on this property. And the first thing that I knew that I was going to need was a tractor out there. Well, I'm an American. I was born in Louisiana. I live in Texas now, and but I'm an American. And when I started looking at tractors, there was one company. There was no other company that I was thinking about buying a tractor from. And I was going to own me a John Deere tractor. I'm an American. John Deere, when we started making the Midwest ours, when we started breaking that ground and we started planting those crops, and we started building this country, really, when this country started just growing and becoming what we've become, John Deere was one of the major reasons that happened. The steel plow that John Deere created just really revolutionized that for us. And from then to to current American history, to where we're at today, John Deere has been such a huge part of that. I mean, it's an American icon. And that's what I wanted. I wanted that American icon to be part of our homestead. A buddy of mine has a 4066R. And man, I started looking at that tractor, just the specs online, right, of what it could do and everything. Well, this property that we bought was a lot of hay field. And I wanted to do that myself. I wanted to raise that myself. Now, I'm from Louisiana. I love food. I love good Louisiana, Cajun, just good food. In fact, when I get done here, we're having a potluck tonight, and I've got to go make jambalaya. And so that's jambalaya, gumbo, etouffee. I mean, that's the stuff that I love. I love to make it. And my goal was to grow everything that I needed myself to make this. That's what I want to do. I want to make a gumbo that's basically everything that we grew, right? So we've got hay, just something, maybe half an acre of produce, So anyway, I'm looking at this tractor and I'm like, okay, the tilling, plowing, anything like that, this tractor can handle, but can it handle the hay, right? Now, here's the deal. I haven't done this all my life. I'm new to this. If I had done this all my life, maybe I would go out in 100-degree Texas weather and do all this in an open station tractor. Maybe so. But I'm in my 40s now, and I'm starting late, and there's no way 106, 110 degrees that I'm out there doing that work. I just wouldn't do it. It's not that I wouldn't want to do it. It's just, I know that it just wouldn't happen. And so I knew I was going to need a cab tractor. So when I'm looking at this, it's going to have to be a cab, right? So the 4066R, I don't even remember the PTO horsepower, but I know that all the balers that I was looking at, maybe if I got like a Vermeer Rebel, something like that, what are they, the 450s or 550s? I don't know off the top of my head. I can't remember, but maybe if I got something like that, I could do a 4066R. But I also looked at the 5067E, I believe is the model, and the cab version of that had like 48, 49 horsepower at the PTO. So I thought maybe I could get away, we'll call it 50. Maybe I could get away with 50 horsepower. So I go out and I start looking at these John Deere tractors. I'm looking at these specs. So I go to a dealership, and I get a quote on what it's going to take to get a 5067E. And I'm going to tell you, I came out of there broken. And that might sound silly, but really these dreams that we had started dreaming, I didn't let myself get too excited before we signed that dotted line for the land, right? I already told you that. But after that, once that happened, I let it go. I started dreaming. I started dreaming big about this. And when I got that quote, I thought that there was no way possible that I was going to be able to do this. I mean, my dreams were being being dashed. They were dashed right then. I just thought there was no way possible that we would be able to live this dream. Here's the deal. We didn't. If you've been doing this for a long time, maybe you're watching this and you grew up in a farm family and you've got farm equipment and land, you've been doing this forever. Well, I don't know if you know this, but from me looking at you, you were very blessed. Someone coming in from the outside, someone that has that same American dream to do that, it's very difficult for us today to get into this. It's so expensive just for the land. Just for the piece of dirt. It's so expensive. But then to manage it, to work it, the equipment is just it's so expensive. And it's so difficult for someone like me coming in from the outside to get into this. When I got that quote back from John Deere, it hurt. I mean, it really, really hurt. I didn't think this was going to happen. So I started looking at Kubota, and I looked at some different Kubota models, and I went to a Kubota dealership and got a quote, and it was the same thing. It was so ridiculously expensive. And so I've got these two quotes from John Deere and Kubota. Is there any other tractor brand? I mean, at the time, was there any other brand? You know, I was just really, I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think it could happen. I was really concerned about having our property. What do we do now? I didn't know what to do. I was really concerned. So I was scared. I was like, what do I do with this now? I had been watching these tractor videos, right? And Tractor Time with Tim had quickly become one of my favorite channels. And I was watching, I was just sitting in the living room at our rental, and I turned on one of Tim's videos. Tim was at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, Kentucky. And he was standing in front of a red tractor. And he was talking about it. And I kind of think Ken from Bolt On Hooks was there with him. Maybe, maybe not. But they were talking about TYM, and I'd never heard of TYM. Tim wasn't necessarily excited about it, but he wasn't bashing them. He wasn't like saying anything really negative about them. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, there's another tractor company. Let me, let's look some more at that. So I found a couple more videos from Tim, and one of them specifically, he was sitting, I think he was sitting in a tractor like this, something like this. It might have been like a Mahindra or Massey. I don't remember. I think it was a red tractor though in the video. And he was sitting there and he was talking about tractor companies who manufacture their own tractors, and how important that was to him, that he owned a tractor that was manufactured by the actual company. And he named off a few of the companies that actually make their own tractors, which I was really surprised at who didn't. But one of the things that surprised me was TYM made their own tractors. Not only did they make their own tractors, they made a lot of other tractors for other people. And so now I've got another tractor brand that I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty interesting. Let me kind of look at them. So I start looking at, you know, I'm on their website, I'm going through some of their models and stuff like that, and I come across the 574, the T574, and I really like that tractor. And it was right there on the edge at horsepower, but I was like, you know, maybe, you know, it still fit with the balers that I had been looking at. So I started looking at this tractor, and I really thought that tractor was what I was going to do. So I'm looking at it, I'm watching all kind of videos, a lot of YouTubers, found Hank Hamilton, Hamiltonville Farms.
You take your filler port off, and this thing has got magnets on it. It's rechargeable, by the way. Did I say that? Now, it's going to leak some, but it ain't going to leak much. Holy cow, y'all. Literally nothing coming out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ah! Oh, no. Oh, golly. Okay, one thing about it. Ah, no. Ah. But that thing works flawless when the battery's charged.
I found Tony's Tractor Adventure.
It's our instinct to get on the tractor and go as fast as you possibly can, pulling this down through here because you like to see that dirt throw up and roll over. However, if you're running along really fast, you got all the weight, the kinetic energy of the tractor moving forward, and then all of a sudden you hit a root and it dead stops. Well, this particular situation, all that pressure is going to be right here on the left point of the tractor. It's going to cause a lot of pressure and a lot more likelihood to damage or break something. So you don't want to tear your tractor up. That's the whole premise of this conversation. Is just move nice, steady, and slow. Take your time. It's better to cut 6 times than 1 time and tear your tractor up.
I found Country View Acres.
We're going to do what they call a microwave test. We're going to microwave it, and we're going to continue to microwave it until it doesn't lose any more weight. And when it stops losing weight, we know it's completely dry. Whatever the weight is in grams, so it was 100 grams, and say when you're done drying it's 50 grams, that means it's 50% dry matter, it was 50% moisture. It's kind of an easy way to do it when you work with even 100s.
Tony had a 474, Hank had the 574, and Evan had a 654. So I'm looking at these tractors, and Tony had done a couple videos promoting the TYM tractors, and one of them was with Phil from Small Farm Innovations, and I think he went through a couple different models. But you know, Evan had the T654, and then Tony did a video with Phil on the T654, and I start looking at this tractor. And so it's like the next step up. So anytime you start looking at a tractor model, what's going to happen is, I'm just going to warn you, if you're new, I'm going to warn you, you're going to start looking at a model and you're going to just love it. that's the one you want. But then what's going to happen is you're going to just be reading about it or something, and you're going to get that itch to look at just the next one up, and you're going to do that. And all of a sudden, that one is going to be the one that is probably the better route to go, right? And I've seen people go from 25 horsepower to a 574. So they just knew that a T25 or a 1025R or something like that was the tractor for them, and now they're riding around 55 horsepower, right? Anyway, so I find a dealer that is going to be about 45 minutes from us. At the time, he was like 2 hours from us. And so, but I drove over there, sat down and started talking to him, and they gave me the numbers of the 574, and I told them that I was interested in the 654 too, and then they gave me the numbers on that, and I could not believe. I'm telling you, you should have seen how excited I was. You should have seen how excited. Like, I'm trying not to show them, right? You're at a dealership. You don't want to show your cards, right? But I am like, the blood is rushing, the adrenaline. I am so excited. I can afford this. I can buy this. All of a sudden, you know, I'm like, in that dream, there's some light. You know, the clouds are kind of opening up and the sun's shining down. And they gave me that 654 price. And as calmly as I could, I said, all right, I'm going to need to think about this. So I got up. My son is there with me. I don't know if he was 4 at the time, but he's in there and he's playing with a little TYM toy on the floor. So I walk out, I get on the phone and I call my wife, and I think it went something like, babe, this is, we can afford this. This is what we talked about. This is what we were originally kind of looking for. And I gave her the price, and I said, this is what it would be a month when, you know, we put this amount down, and this is what it'll be a month. And are you okay with it? And she was like, do it. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. And I went in and I sat down, and there was one thing. So out there on the lot, the ones that they had silver wheels. Okay, I'm from a new generation of tractor owners. I'm sorry, I'm from a new one. We're new. We like some style with our stuff, okay? I had seen them with red wheels. So I said, listen, I really want red wheels. Well, she goes over and she yells out to the owner. His office was next to her, and she goes, hey, can we get red wheels for these? So the owner walks in to her office. This is on a Saturday. This is the only time I can go over there. So it's a Saturday morning. So he gets on the phone and calls the main person over the tractors that go out to dealers. I don't know what you call that person, but he calls that person up on the phone on the Saturday from TYM. The guy answers immediately. And he's like, hey, I got a customer here that wants a 654, but he wants them with red wheels. You have anything like that? And he said, power shuttle or shuttle shift? Power shuttle. He said, what kind of tires does he want? R1s, R4s, and I wanted R1s. That's what I wanted, where we're at. He said, R1s. He said, yeah, I got one sitting at North Carolina. I can send it to you we can start getting it sent over on Monday. And I'm like, you know, and I'm like, okay. So now let's talk about the price. So we start talking about the price, you know, and it was kind of a package deal, right? It had some stuff in there. I wanted a grapple, third function, all that already on it. So we got all that squared away and got the price I was great with it. So we signed the dotted line. And about 3 weeks later, that tractor came in, and I took it straight out to our property, immediately, straight out to our property. Well, actually, I stopped at a Walmart and got diesel. I filled it up with diesel. And because man, can I get a full tank of diesel in my brand new tractor I just bought from you? I understand. That's expensive. That's another cost. I get that. So I filled it up with diesel and took it out to the property and got out there and had no more clue to what I was doing. But I got out there and I drove that sucker around. My wife came out there with my son, and we got a video somewhere. My wife's like, my husband is so happy right now.
Here he comes. This is a very happy man driving this tractor.
And I'm just out there putting around. I ain't got nothing. I ain't doing nothing with it. I don't know what to do with it at the moment, you know? And so I'm out there just driving. I'm so happy. I just couldn't tell you. But, you know, I tell you that story to say that everyone that I have met from TYM, you know, like I said, I dive head in when I get into this stuff. I was having just these really good experiences with the dealers, and I got online and got into the forums onto the Facebook groups and started talking to people in the groups, asking questions, learning about stuff, figuring things out, figuring out that you should always read your manual. Read your manual. And I dove off into my manual and just started figuring out things like, you know, the operation of the tractor, how things worked, how, you know, different the fluids that we need in our tractors, right? The 50-hour service, right? You got to be ready for it, and you know, and all this stuff. And I started learning from it and everything, and I was really I just loved it so much. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to the National Farm Machinery Show. So last year I went to the National Farm Machinery Show. I drove up from Texas. I made the 12, 13-hour drive to Louisville, Kentucky, and went in, and I told people from the group, hey, I'm going to this thing. Y'all got any questions y'all want me to ask TYM while I'm there? And, you know, there were some really good questions that I got back, and I had this list of stuff that I wanted to talk to them about. And I got there, and there were people that were actually there that weren't the salespeople. They actually they're the people that are servicing the tractors, that are taking care of the parts and everything. And I met them. One of the guys' names was Tyler, and I sat there and I just talked his ear off. And we had some good conversations, and I mean, multiple people there from TYM I'm talking to, and I just couldn't believe, you know, these are people from Rome, Georgia, you know, from the Georgia area that you know, just good folk, you know, just people that love tractors and love what they do. And man, it was just, I didn't expect that from the company, you know? And so, you know, listen, I love my tractor. I absolutely love my tractor. I really like what TYM offers. Like I said, it is so hard for someone coming into this new to get into this. It's so hard, and it's so expensive. But TYM provides a way for us to do that. John Deere, I'm sorry, but you are pricing yourself out of the market. And listen, you might have big ag, but and you might have a loyal following at a certain age, a certain generation of farmers that have always done it that way. But the new people that are coming into this, the people that are new to it, we can't afford that. We can't do it. We cannot do it. And you're losing us. And so by attrition, something's going to happen. it's going to happen. You're going to have to do something different. Maybe you can survive forever on big ag. You know, those few people that will always wear John Deere green, but the new generation of people coming into this, we can't do it. We just cannot afford it. And you are losing us. You are losing us. Let me say it this way. I had an American dream, right? I couldn't do my American dream with an American icon. TYM looks more like the American dream right now to me than John Deere. I mean, from what I'm telling you, from the people that are out there listening to this, everyone, does that not seem right? Am I wrong about that? The American dream, to be able to buy your own piece of dirt, to be able to work it, to be able to own the equipment to take care of it. I can't do that with a $70,000, an $80,000 tractor. I can't do it. I can't afford that. But TYM made that possible for me. And they're making it possible for a lot of people out there who can't afford it. And all the new people coming in, that's what we're looking at. And not only is TYM affordable, but man, they're beasts of a tractor. My lift capacities are amazing. They run circles around comparable tractors with other brands. I'm on a 494 sitting here right now. And this is a 48 horsepower tractor, and it will run circles around the same type of series in John Deere's lineup, in Kubota's lineup. It will run circles around it with capacities, with lift capacities on the rear, the loader on it. I mean, it's just, and it's got a TYM, the old Coupe J, right? The TYM engine in it. It's a all mechanical. I mean, just like one of the best engines you can buy. You can actually work on it yourself. We haven't even talked about right to repair, right? We haven't even talked about what John Deere's doing to farmers with right to repair. I mean, I can actually take this tractor and work on it myself right here, right? It's just a great mechanical engine. These tractors are phenomenal. And if you don't treat them like a skid steer, right, a track loader, if you'll take care of them, these tractors will take care of you. I promise you. I mean, it's just they're great. And so, I mean, that's why I like TYM. I mean, am I misguided on this? Am I barking up the wrong tree here? Should I not be this excited about it? I don't know. Now listen, I'm not going to be loyal if forever for just anything. I'm not going to let just anything. I mean, that's just, hey, I wanted a John Deere, right? That's what I wanted. But whenever they, I don't know what you want to say, that whenever they turned on me, what am I going to do? So I'm not just diehard loyal to a brand just because I want to do what's best for me and my family. And right now, TYM is what's best for me and my family. These other companies might be what's best. These other non-John Deere, non-Kubota companies might be what's best for their family. And that it seems like that's what's happening. How many new people on social media popping up do you see running, they're starting to do John Deere's? How many of these homestead channels are doing John Deere tractors on them, right? Tim just bought a Yanmar. He just brought home a Yanmar. And it had to do with he's showing these tractors off on his channel, and he understands that his viewers can't afford what he's showing off, and he needs to be there for his viewers. And so he's looking at other alternatives for it. And Yanmar makes a good, you know, Yanmar's known. You can get TYMs with Yanmars. Yanmar's been part of American ag forever now, right? And so, I mean, it's just a brand you can trust. So, you know, Tim's got a Yanmar tractor. He's got a Yanmar tractor sitting at his house now because of what John Deere's doing. And well, I'm not even getting into the political stuff, right? I don't know where you fall politically watching this. I don't even want to talk about that. But my point to that is that a lot of people don't align with what John Deere is doing. A lot of people in this type of industry, in the ag industry, do not align with what John Deere is doing behind the scenes. And they don't want any part of that. And so, I mean, it's like John Deere is just really making some bad decisions right now. And I hate that. I don't want that. I don't want that American icon to fail. I don't want it to go the way of the mammoth or the dodo, right? I don't want that to happen. But, I mean, that's what I don't know. Maybe they won't. Maybe John Deere won't. Maybe their ag side is big enough to hold them together. I don't know. But I'm not sure. What part of the compact and subcompact and utility, what part of that is their profit or are their sales? Can they live with, can they continue on with a much smaller market share of that? And I'm not saying that this is going to happen this year, next year, in 5 years. It could be 10, 15 years. But listen, I'm telling you, attrition, right? A new generation is coming in to this. We're new people, and we're not buying John Deere. We're buying these other companies. We're buying these other brands. So, and it's sad. I'm gonna read a couple things here some notes that I have. So John Deere, I found this. I think you can go to Wikipedia and find this stuff on John Deere. The original John Deere, Mr. Deere. First off, he said, "I will never put my name on a product that does not have in it the best that is in me." I mean, that's a strong statement. That's an American, just that American grit, American ingenuity statement right there. That's, and I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to downplay any other country, but I am proud to be an American. So you're just gonna have to go with me on that. I'm proud to be an American, and that is an American statement. And then there's one other thing. Oak Cliff Calvin, very famous postal worker. He did a documentary for John Deere, and he made the statement that during the Great Depression, that people were hurting. They couldn't afford food. They couldn't afford their homes. That was a hard time for people. And he said that John Deere as a company never repossessed any equipment from any American farmer during that time. That's the John Deere that I want. That's the John Deere that made me want a John Deere. That's the John Deere that I'm proud of. And the John Deere today is not that. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say that. And people might get mad at me for saying that. But, I mean, that's the truth. This is not the same. We're not getting the best that is in me, right? We're not getting the best that is possible from John Deere. We're not. This is the way that I feel about it. If you don't have thousands of head of cattle probably 10,000 head of cattle, or thousands of acres of crops. I don't think John Deere cares about us at all. At all. You know, I think that they just believe that because of their history, because what they've meant to people in the past, that we'll just keep buying their product. But I don't think they care about us. When I can buy a tractor for 40 grand and they want 75 for something comparable, that's, and you can say all you want, but you know, about buying American or whatever. We all know that John Deere is, you know, some of their models are assembled in the US, but those parts are coming in from everywhere. So don't come at me with the American made John Deere stuff. I don't want to hear that. I won't listen to that at all. You know, TYM is made in South Korea. It's one of our greatest partners, one of our greatest allies. I have no problem supporting a company out of there. You know, that you know, but they have put a lot into this in America. You know, they have a major operation going on in places like Rome, Georgia, where there are a lot of Americans that are you know, making ends meet and supporting their family because of TYM. Americans making, you know, doing that. There are, you know, the other companies, not just TYM, the other companies that are out of South Korea. You know, they've got, you know, their businesses in like North Carolina supporting people out there. And boy, doesn't North Carolina need it right now. So don't tell me, don't try to push the whole American made. I'm tired of it. You know, it's, yes, some of it is, and I feel, and I don't want those people to hurt. I don't want them to not have jobs, right? Those Americans that are assembling them. But I can't afford it. I'm sorry. I can't. I cannot afford it. And I don't care if you have more, if you've got a bigger dealer network. It doesn't matter if you have a bigger dealer network. I can't afford your tractor. It doesn't matter. You can have the, you know, you could, I don't know, you could hand out solid gold keychains with your tractors and do free oil changes for the, you know, for the whole warranty period. I don't know, something like that. I cannot walk in and afford your tractor. It just is not, I can't do it. I cannot do it. And I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry to all the John Deere workers out there. But I hope they change. I really do hope they change. They need new leadership. I think that's what it is. They absolutely need new leadership. And I hope that whoever has the power to make that happen, whether it's board members or stockholders, I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't know how John Deere is set up that way. But I hope those people will see the writing on the wall and say, we do need new leadership. We need to get back to our roots. We need to get back to actually being the company that helps build the American dream, that helps establish that American dream and helps it to flourish. But anyway, so that's my video for today. That's why I own a TYM. Even without a loader, she's not a bad looking tractor. I still couldn't afford her. And I think I look better in red anyway. Well, that's it. I really appreciate y'all watching my video. And Lord willing, I will see y'all on the next one. Now I got to get out of here before I get shot.